Thank you. Great.
Okay. And we are back. For those who didn't hear, who are attending virtually, there is a section for you to type any questions in. At the end of each session, we'll have some time, so feel free to do so. I'd like to introduce the Senior Manager for Online Education with SIR, Elizabeth Nicholson. She'll be talking with you on adopting a new LMS.
Okay, thank you, although I don't like you.
I know.
And let me tell you why I don't like him. So I'm Elizabeth Nicholson, as Matt said, and a little bit about myself. Before I came to SIR, I was with the aviation industry. Let's go back even further. I hate being here right now. Speaking in front of people is not, so if I sit here, I'm standing here holding on this table, it's so I don't fall over, not the table. But tables help me stand up. And my boss, right before I came on, she's listening. Hi, Jen. She said she was definitely putting this on my review. And so all good comments afterward would be appreciated. Thank you. But no, Matt bribed me by food. He took me out to lunch, and while I was eating, said, "Hey, do you want to speak at our next UGM?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And next thing I know, I'm getting all these emails saying, "Thanks for agreeing to speak." I was, "Oh, you're serious? Okay, great." So here I am. Yeah, and I do like to joke when I'm nervous, so I apologize, but I will try to keep it to the minimum. So before I came to work for the Society of Interventional Radiology, I worked for the aviation industry. I worked for the National Air Transportation Association. And I not only did their online LMS education, but I also traveled around the country and trained people in person, line service personnel, on fire safety, customer service, how to use our LMS. That was a big one. But it was more in person. And which is funny, right? But there was a smaller group of people and not virtual. But I just really liked educating people. I do like talking to people. I don't hate people. I do like you. Don't take it personally. I like to see, I was talking to, I think it was Deb said earlier, or no, it wasn't Deb, it was Clinton. He was giving a course this morning about on Storyline, and he said, I like that light bulb moment, right, where you can connect with somebody and say, oh, okay, I get it, or I don't get it, and then try to figure out why they're not getting it. And that's the point of online education, is not just to teach, but to make them understand and really get what they don't know, and so they can dig deeper. Or if they want to dig deeper, you want to get that human trait of knowledge, or the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'll come back to it. But, everybody wants to learn. That's what we do, So that's where I started, the aviation industry. And so came over to SIR online. And personally, I have 2 kids, a 15-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. I know. I don't look like I should have children at all, but I do. I'm an avid scuba diver. Love scuba diving, love being under the water, just everything about it. That's me doing some yoga poses at my 15-foot, 3-minute boring wait to come up to the surface. And I'm an animal lover, and so I can connect with Deb, which, by the way, coming after Deb, if I wasn't nervous before, that didn't help. Very good job. Thank you very much for all of your expertise. So, who are we? We have about the Society of Interventional Radiology. We have about 6,000 members. 3,000 of those are regular members, interventional radiologists, 1,000 residents and students, and 2,000 other. We have associate members, out of country members, NPs, PAs, just people that work with the interventional radiologists, okay? We only have 45 employees. I don't know how many of you here, I'd ask you, but I wouldn't know the answer, so just hold on a second, have less than 30 employees. less than 50 employees. Over 50 employees, over 75, over 100. Do I hear 150? So 200? All right, so in between 50 and 200, that's a pretty wide range. But we have 45 in Fairfax, Virginia, right down the street, and 3 of us are in the education department. My boss, Jen, again, hi, Jen. She oversees 2 of us. Matt, my coworker, does live meetings, and I do all of the online education. So it's me. And so I work very closely with our subject matter experts inside and outside of SIR. So they asked me my topic is proactive, and when they started, I was like, I don't know. I just do. It's hard to come up and start talking about what you do on a day-to-day basis that you think is going to be instrumental to the people that you're talking to. So we had an LMS. This is not our first LMS. Our first LMS we launched in 2009, and before that we did just a kind of an in-house type LMS. Then we had an LMS, and they decided that they didn't want to have an LMS anymore. And so, okay. So it really didn't give us an option. And so that was me in 2018. February, we sent out the RFP, and we selected Web Courseworks in July, signed a contract at the end of July, and launched in December. And it was a ridiculously challenging turnaround time and very aggressive turnaround time, because this was taking our old LMS, which we had, I think it was close to 90 or 100 courses on it, and having to rebuild everything. Because some of the stuff we didn't have to rebuild because it was expiring. Okay, those are easy, right? But then we had to take those that weren't expiring and rebuild them. And so during that, hold on, I don't know what's next. Okay, good. Oh, it's right here. Sorry. And so during that time, we worked really closely with Web Courseworks and just said, okay, so we have to go live in December. That's not an option. Like, we are going live December 4th. And so when we signed the end of July, we still had a lot of work to do to build the LMS. It's not turnkey. No company is turnkey, right? And so it was what was going to work for us. And we still needed to build all these courses, and how much time do we need to build those courses? And it was challenging. They wanted me to talk about the positives and the negatives of this really quick turnaround. I had to go talk to some people about the positives. I was like, wait, could you remind me again what the positive was for this? And one phrase that came up really nicely was, we didn't have analysis paralysis. We didn't have time to think. It was, we need to get this done, so let's do it. Okay, plain and simple, because our members are counting on it. And we also didn't have a choice because the other LMS was going away. So, okay, let's go. The negative, well, no, let's stick with the positives for a little bit. Another positive was that there was very limited, what am I trying to say here? Our members were not disrupted. We turned it off. It's 2 weeks, we turned it on. And we sent out email blasts and put in our newsletters what we were going to do. And we listened to some of the challenges that our members had from our previous LMS and moved them over to our new LMS. And so we highlighted those promising new features, right? And so by the time we turned it back on, we had instructions out there. We had emails. We all know they didn't read them. But we could at least point to them and say, we told you so. We told you it was coming. But it was a limited disruption for our members. And that was another positive thing, is that we just didn't have time. This is happening, okay? The downfall was that we're moving into this new LMS, And I think, Amber, you said that I was one of the ones in here that have the newer ones, the newer platform. Carnegie, right. ABC. I keep wanting to say Charlie, aviation. So, we had this new platform from a very archaic platform that we were coming from. And one of the negatives for having such a very quick turnaround was that we couldn't really evaluate our processes and how our members interacted with the LMS and how our evaluations were done, how our questions were done, how the layout was done, because we literally had to just rebuild 80 courses in the time of 2 months. And so we couldn't sit down and really figure it out. We just did exactly what we had before and moved it over, but just looked prettier, right? It looked more modern. And so, yeah. And so that's where we are now. So our LMS now, this is what it looks like. It's the Learning Center. I don't have a very, oh, it's a nice name. Oh, you like that, Deb? Thanks. And we actually did have some conversations about it, and we just said, it's fine. Move on. We only have 2 months, right? But it's definitely, this is what it looks like. And we have a lot of people, a lot of our members come back, and they do like the new change. They do like how it looks. They like that they can see what percentage they are in the courses. I love the fact that the banner on top, the one that says SIR annual meeting, I can change that. And then I can distribute it to everybody. And so if I have a new course launching, I put that up there and hit reset, and unfortunately it resets the dashboard. And so if they've done anything special to their dashboard, it takes it all away. But it gets the message out there. And I honestly don't think that our members are, okay. So I can update that, and I can send out emails directly to everybody that says, hey, look at this. And what's funny is that with our old LMS, and we did that RFP, I told everybody does an RFP, right? And we were saying, these are what we really want. We want to be able to send emails from the LMS. We want to be able to track the evaluation questions. We want to be able to track testing questions. WebCourt, pretty much everybody that came back, they're like, oh, that's standard. Like, oh, we had no idea. We had no idea it was standard. And so it's a nice, refreshing look to say, okay, the technology has definitely moved up, and this is what we have. So right now with our Learning Center, we have 3,500 users. We have 83 on-demand courses. We have 3 years of annual meeting recordings and about 250 hours each. We host our live meeting, which Don mentioned earlier. That was a whole process, which I can get into in a second. And actually, I'll do that now. I'm not going to talk about the coming up. So I launch 1 course a month. It's our article CME. Okay, so 1 course a month goes up there automatically at the beginning of every month. And if I miss it by an hour, I hear from a lot of people that it's not up there. And so that goes up every year. And then this year, well, since March, so the past 6 months, I think I've launched 12 or 15 other courses, and they're all CME based. It's a couple of them are not, just resource material, but most of them are CME based, or earnings. And then our annual meeting recordings, we actually, with this LMS, we're able to obviously integrate with our AMS, our Association Management System. And then we also have to integrate with our company that hosts our video recordings from our meeting. And so they talk to each other. And so members will come into our LMS, and if they've purchased the DVL, which is our digital video library, they get pushed over to our vendor site. They do whatever they have to do. They answer questions on that site, and then the CMEs that they claim on that get pushed back to Web Courseworks, get pushed back into this LMS. And so their transcript is constantly up to date in one spot. They're not going to 3 different places to see what credits they've earned. And so that integration was a challenge, but surprisingly, it wasn't as challenging as I thought it was going to be. The integration actually worked very well because everybody just again, we have 2 months to stop fighting, just make it work. I don't care how it's done, just do it, right? I do have 2 kids. It's like, get in your corners. And then the live meeting, this was the one place, our live meeting, our annual meeting is in March of every year. And so we had a little bit more time to analyze how we did that. And John, I think, showed a very quick snippet of what our annual meeting looked like in the beginning of his speech. He did a little screenshot with the certificate. And that was a whole new process for us because in the past, we held their hands. We did everything for them. Okay, they would come to our annual meeting. We would scan their badges. We would collect their badge scanner data. And then we would figure it all out when we got home after 2 days of sleep. We'd figure it all out, and then we would upload their credits to the Learning Center. They would log in, they'd fill out an evaluation and print their certificate. Easy peasy. Like they didn't have anything to do. The only time we'd get emails, I went to this session. Like, well, how could you have gone to that session, this session at the same time? It's at the same time. I mean, come on. So there are those issues. But for the most part, they got their credits. Well, we don't want to do that anymore. It took a lot of time and effort on our end. And so working very closely with Web Courseworks, we said, what do your other clients do? Because we're not the experts, they are. And so what do you do? And they helped us significantly with the live meeting where we had, our entire meeting was in the LMS. And we didn't have to, we set it up obviously ahead of time and we set limits. And so the attendee would come in, they would log into their learning center, it would be there miraculously, and they would click into it and they would click the day, and then they click the time, and they click their session, and they claim their credits. And they went back. And if they tried to click another session that time, it won't let them. We had restrictions put on. And so they had to just go through the process day by day and claim their own credits. You would think we asked them to build the Eiffel Tower. We had signage, we had emails, we had people at our booth, we had people at registration. It was a learning curve. But in the end of the day, I think they appreciated the fact that they could get their credits that day. There was no waiting 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks until it was uploaded. They could get their credits and they can print their certificate. And we built the certificate so it would accumulate the credits and it would constantly update day by day, whatever you earned, 2 pages, 3 pages, whatever. And so that was a challenge, but it was a good one. And it really helped, I think it helped our members and it definitely helped us. And it works, and we're doing it again this year. And we're just going to move forward. And luckily it's, here, take what we did last year and just do it again. And Web Courseworks is going to help us with that too, because I'm not building it. Not doing it. One of the main keys that helped us choose Web Courseworks, as John mentioned earlier, was the portals. And I don't know if we're one of the first ones to use the portals or if we're ones that are being the most pain in the butts about the portals. I'm not sure. But we are starting this new residency program. And I was very interested in Deb's talk about subject matter experts because we are building 80 modules. And we expect to have 500 users. And it's going to include administrator portals. And this very intricate where one module is being released every 2 weeks out to our residents. And we have a ridiculously aggressive timeline where I think by January, we want to have all modules completed because we launch in July. And so the modules that I'm working on in January aren't actually going to be launched until 2022, but we want them done, right? And so working with subject matter experts, I have 80 different ones, 80 plus for each mod, or, one for each module, maybe two, and then reviewers on top of that, and then another set of reviewers on top of that to come in together and build this very elaborate, in-depth course where they're going to log into their LMS and they're going to be placed into their own portal. And so if they're at the University of Michigan hospital, they're going to have the University of Michigan logo. And it's their own little portal with their training. And then the administrator is able to go in and see what their residents are doing and how they're doing. And so this is it's a very different scope of work for us. We've never done anything like this before. And so it's interesting. It's very interesting. Are there any questions so far? I don't have to wait till the end. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Talk for a little bit, will you?
How is an interventional radiologist opposed to a regular radiologist?
Wait, what? Well, okay, next question. No, just kidding. An interventional radiologist does, and Jen, why don't you just walk away just in case I don't, no. Radiologist, diagnostic radiology, okay, is you look at the film and you're diagnosing from a film, okay? Interventional radiologists perform procedures using the radiology equipment around them. And so they'll be using MRI machines, they'll be using scans while they're in doing their procedure, stroke, vein procedures, venous procedure, that's the same thing, venous vein, artery procedures, GI bleeds. I mean, so they're actually going in and performing a service to a patient. And they do a lot of, new clinics, they get called into ERs, they get, it's invasive procedures.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
The other thing is...
Now ask me about scuba diving.
What's the best place to go?
No.
What the support that you get from What Courseworks, is that part of your annual contract?
It is.
Is that something that's built into everyone's contract?
I can't answer for that. You can talk to Amber after I speak. I'm done. You can go talk to her. No, it is part of our contract. It's one of something that we get, I think, 40 hours. We can purchase 40-hour time blocks of support, and you just use that as the time goes on. If I have, actually, one of the line items I was looking at, it was answer a phone call from Elizabeth. I was like, really? You totally called me out on needing support, but okay.
And also with the portals, do you get administrative access to people who manage those individual portals?
Yes. There's both, and we haven't launched it yet. And so, but I pretty much understand how it's going to work. I have the super duper admin right. And I say that because Mary's not here, and she'd say, you don't have super duper, I have super duper. You just have super. But I have the super admin rights, and so I can see everything. And then we're able to give administrator rights to different levels. And so the program director or the program coordinator at that facility will have administrator rights. And so when he goes in, he'll see what test results, test scores, and then there's the student, the user, the learner that goes in and can't see what anybody else is doing.
It's like concentric circles. Student sees themselves, program administrator sees the people in their program, and you see everything.
Right. I see all, which is really fun because they'll call me and be like, I can't do this. I'm like, I can't log in. You were just in like a minute ago. Like I see that you're in there right now. It is kind of fun. I don't tell them that though.
How many portals do you have? Or are you planning to have?
Are we planning to have? I believe we're planning on having 80 portals, plus our super duper one. Yes.
For your live meeting, are you using a meeting app or any other way for people who are browsing the schedule or anything like that?
Right. So I'm sorry. I'm supposed to repeat questions. I know she's yelling at me. So he asked, what was your name? Daniel, putting him on the spot, has asked if we use a meeting app as well for schedules. And yes, we do. I'm in charge of that too. We do have a meeting app, and I think we're going to remove it this year because we had the little icon on there to claim credit, and it would send them to their learning center. But then they got really confused because they thought they were claiming credit in the app and not the learning center. And so that part was confusing. But yes, we do use an app for schedules and information and just overall meeting information, and then have the learning center to actually claim your credits. So how am I a proactive LMS administrator? Because I'm the only LMS administrator. No. I was talking to Matt yesterday about something, and I told him, I said, I am one of those people that when the plumber comes over to fix a leaky sink, I don't go sit on the couch and watch television. I'm like right over it. What you doing? Right? Why, what is that? What's that? Why are you doing that? Because I don't want him to come back. I want to fix it later myself, right? And so I'm very curious. I am a very curious person. And so when we get this new LMS, I dove deep. I went into it. I found problems. I found one earlier today, and he looked at me and goes, why? Why do you keep finding these things? And I'm like, I don't know. But I just do. I'm just a curious person. And so it's, I go in there when I built a test course. And I said, what does this do? And I just played around with it. I was like, oh, I haven't used half of it because we haven't needed to yet, but I know it's there. And so I know it's in the back of my head. And so when I'm talking to my subject matter experts, when I'm talking to staff members, when I'm talking to whomever, say, we can do that. It's going to take me some time because I haven't quite figured it out, but I know it's there. And so then I'll just dig into it and I'll just do it. Like I said, 83 courses when we launched, and 1 course a month, and however many courses these past 6 months, I could not have done it without templates. And that was huge. I probably have about 15 or 20 templates that I go in, and one of them is, I have on-demand activity, live webinar, non-CME, on-demand update, because I haven't figured out how to delete the old ones, but we can talk about that later. JVIR activity, and that's the one that I use every month. And when I click on it, I don't know if this has like a little, but I click that little create course, and that's just right on my dashboard. I hit that, and I type in, the name, course name, what category, and then I choose the template and I hit create, and voila, it's there. And all I have to do now is put in the article and put in the test questions. And, oh, sorry, hold on. I put in the description, I put in the article, and I do the test questions. Everything else is done. My credit claim is done, my certificates are done, all of the nuances of you got to do this before you can do this, and all of the restrictions and the timing and everything is already there. And so I can tell you that when it comes to building these 80 modules, I already have a template for how to do 80 modules, because they're all going to basically be set up the same. And the nice thing about the templates is that they're there, they're useful, and they really do help. I could not do this without the templates so quickly. But I can change them. It's not set in stone. It's not, okay, no, I'm sorry, this is what you got. So that's it. This is what you had before. If you want to change it, you still can. And that's very helpful, because there's some times where you want to add a page, or you want to take a page away, or you want to add something, or you want to do different restrictions, and you can still do that. But the templates have been an absolute time saver, and I love them. Love them. We have 2 different formats that we use. Again, now that after we've launched, we're now able to kind of go back and look at our processes and say, okay, does this really work? And moving forward, we're not going to change the ones that we've already launched, right? That's silly. You're not going to go backwards. You're moving forward. And you're going to look at the evaluation questions, and you're going to get the feedback from your members saying, I don't like all the clicks. I don't like having to do this. I don't like that it's on so many different pages. I just want to see everything right up front. Okay, so we can do that too. Okay, so here, there's everything. This is everything you have to do to get your certificate. It's right up here. And we do this for a lot of live meetings. And again, I have a template for this type too, where it's just put it in. And actually, no, I don't, but I should. But the topics format, like I said, some of the members like this format over the others. And so we just kind of try to mix it up now and how we're presenting education. It's not just the, one size fits all for our members. It's now that we have this new LMS and these new options, how are we going to get in there and change it up, right? And you talk to the subject matter experts, but mostly you talk to the members. And they tell you, we don't like this, and so you come up with this. And of course, they're going to say they don't like this, and so you go back with, but it's clean, and that's what I like about the newer LMS that we have, is that it's very clean. It's it flows nicely, and you can have it flow in different ways. So some more about where we're moving, talking to our members. I was talking to another attendee here about Articulate and Rise 360. I prefer Rise 360. It's a lot more, I don't know if any of you use it. No? Little feedback? Have I put you to sleep? Are you there? Hello?
Are you doing development as well as administration then?
Yes. Yeah, I do it from beginning to end. So I work with the subject matter experts. And he asked if I do development in addition to administration. Sorry, gotcha. So yeah, I from beginning concept of the training to launch of the training to marketing of the training. And so I do all of it. And so the Rise 360, one of the courses that we're just launching in a couple days actually, is a case-based online training. It's the branching scenario. Is my time up? Are you over there going like this? I have to, really? I got to wrap it up? I thought I was not going to be, okay, well, hey, you can talk to me after about the new training that I'm launching here. So that's me now. No. Not even a little bit. But with the templates, it's kind of closer. So I guess we have to go to discussions and questions because I ran out of time. Really?
Well,
Yes.
So, and I don't know if you can speak to that, but do you ever import sections from other courses versus using a template?
I don't understand the question.
Like you just import. So that's how I do it, and I just didn't know if you did that as well. Like when you create a new course, you can just import elements from other courses you think?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, you can. We importing elements from other courses into newer courses, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can. We don't. Because most of our courses are very specific to that topic. And so whatever we've used in previous courses, we don't normally move over. The one exception is our digital video library, where you have, I mentioned that before, it's our entire meeting in a video library. And we'll take snippets from that and build courses through that. And so not particularly. We do, no, we don't.
And then a follow-up question about the course library. So do people purchase, so they can purchase like the annual meeting recordings, and then that's like a course, or they just get access to the recordings, and then separately you would say, like this specific radio, this person spoke on this topic, and then there's like some CME questions with it, like that's a separate course that they would purchase?
Okay, I think I'm following. I can't repeat that, so I'm just gonna, okay. So we call everything in our learning center a course. because that's what Web Courseworks calls it. And so we had to be on the same wavelength on that one. Before we called them just activities. But yeah, so the DVL is its own course. They purchase it. We don't use the Web Courseworks catalog. We have our own store on our website. So they purchase through our website, and then it gets fed over to Web Courseworks when somebody logs in, and it gives them access to that course. And so the main digital video library is a course because it is collecting the credits from I say portal, but from that integration with that vendor. The other courses we have, I'm sorry, what was your second question?
Well, so the first one, but if someone doesn't attend the live meeting.
They can still purchase the DVL.
It's a course.
Yes.
Okay, do they get credits for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Some of them, not every session within our DVL offers credits, but probably about 75% of them do. SACME questions, yeah.
But then you have separate courses that
Yes.
are like from one of the, or a couple stitched together lectures.
Right. And it's like if somebody wanted with anticoagulation or below the knee or stroke related presentations, I work with subject matter experts, and they go into the DVL, they go online and they pick and choose the presentations they want. They tell me what they want, and they pick articles, medical articles that they want incorporated in the training. And then I put it all together with questions, and that makes a whole separate course within our learning center that they can also purchase. And it is separate. No.
This is a question for everybody.
I told you weren't allowed to ask me questions.
No, I'm just saying, with the struggles with sort of self-service, whether it's claiming credits or anything else, I'd just be interested to hear from others about what useful strategies you have to shift that culture out to the learner to do more, especially when you've done everything for them.
It was a culture shock for our members. And without sounding mean, I guess it really was, well, if you want the credit, you'll do it. I mean, I'm sorry.
We bag our own groceries, we pump our own gas.
Yeah, I mean, you want the credit, you're going to do it. And if you don't want the credit, you won't do it. And so, yes, they didn't love it at first, like I said, but they realized, well, if I want the credit, I got to do it. And so it really was, we tried to make it as user-friendly as possible. And so it was a seamless experience. And that they got over it.
Is it for a license or something for them to be able to practice their?
It all does go towards their medical license, yeah, to stay certified. So I guess that's it. All right, thank you.